Public speaking. For so many people, the very idea of public speaking sends shivers of anxiety rushing down their body. In fact, studies have shown that over 70% of adults have a fear of public speaking. And the problem is that while so many of us have had that nightmare where you go up on stage, you start to present, and you realize you're wearing nothing but your underwear, it's still one of those things that you're probably going to have to do at some point in your career to get you to the next level or in your business. What is going on? It's Alistair here. I'm from The Swayer, and in this video, I'm going to show you a couple of really simple public speaking tips to help you charm your audience and to get the vote to swing in your way. So tip number one is to start with the end result in mind. You see, the biggest thing about any presentation is that the most important person in that situation, it's not you, it's the people listening to you. So you see this in a lot of presentations where the speaker just carries on and on and on, and he's just completely lost the audience because he's speaking about what he wants to say instead of focusing on what the audience is supposed to learn. So the first step is to figure out exactly what your main takeaway, the one big thing from your talk or your presentation is. I mean, before you even start planning your script, what's that one big thing that if your audience understood just that, and only that, it'd still be a pretty good end result. And look, sometimes you might want them to learn more than one thing, and that's okay, but it's just about getting clear on exactly what you want the audience to walk away with by the time you finish your presentation. And this right there, it is the single biggest thing that you can do to make any presentation go well, because when you know what that one big factor is, you'll be able to create a presentation that actually flows well, because you know that everything you're speaking about is simply going to lead one step at a time to this one big goal at the end. And that leads us to step number two. Know your audience. I mean, before you ever get up in front of them and before you even plan out your script, take a few minutes and think about exactly who you're speaking to. What information do they know? What don't they know? What kind of topics do they find interesting? And what information is going to go straight over their heads? Like, let me give you an example. If I did a talk about digital marketing and I'm talking to an audience of people who knew absolutely nothing about it, if I start going on about sales funnels and conversion rates and split testing, I'm going to lose that audience because they probably will have no idea about what I'm speaking about. Whereas if I spoke to an audience of digital entrepreneurs, they are probably going to be very engaged with what I'm saying, and they'll be in tune with everything I'm sharing because they understand it. And you especially see this with speakers who use really technical terms with a non-technical audience, like a personal trainer speaking to a casual audience about how calisthenics training can lead to substantial increases in muscle hypertrophy, instead of just saying that exercises that just use your body weight can still help your muscles grow. With the first description he used, if his audience didn't know what those words meant, he would have already lost them because they're confused. And so when you're thinking about who's your audience, also think about the kind of information and the kind of terminology that they would already know or that they wouldn't know before you even plan out your presentation. Because then all you have to do is fill the gap. All you need to know is where they currently are, the information that they probably know, and the kind of content that they enjoy, and then bridge the gap between that and your one big takeaway. And that's all you want to do from your presentation. You don't have to worry about teaching them things that aren't relevant. All you have to do is just bridge that gap. So in your presentation, say things and share stories that teach them everything they need to know to understand those big points that you have, while still being sure that along the process, they still understand and they are actually enjoying everything you're saying. And that's how you keep them engaged, because they know what you're talking about. And then tip number three, now that you got your presentation ready to go and you know that they're going to really enjoy it, still doesn't shake the nerves that happen before you get on stage now, does it? So how do you shake that feeling? 2 words and 2 minutes. Power posing. So power posing, it's a type of body language technique, that was studied by a researcher at Harvard by the name of Amy Cuddy. So what Amy found is that if you got someone to power pose for 2 minutes, their testosterone goes up, which is kind of like your confidence hormone, and their cortisol comes down, which is kind of like your stress hormone. So power posing for just 2 minutes immediately makes you feel more confident, more in control, and less stressed. And all it takes is for you to literally stand in this position for 2 minutes. So there are a couple of different variations, but essentially it's got to do with standing up strong, standing up tall, and taking up as much space as you can. So like my favorite is to go find a door, like a door frame, and to stand like this with my hands against the door frame for just 2 minutes. Or you can put your hands behind your back when you're standing there and just stand up tall, just for 2 minutes. Or you can put them on your hip. And this one, it's called the Wonder Woman pose. And just do that for 2 minutes. And while you're doing that, maintain tall and strong posture. Push your chest out, keep your chin up, smile and take deep breaths. And after your power pose, maintain this posture until you finish your presentation, and you're gonna automatically find yourself feeling so much less anxious and so much more confident about it. And the reason why this happens is because just like how your emotions change your body language, like how you take up more space and you tend to smile when you're happy and excited, or how you tend to close up and frown when you're sad, your body language also changes the way you feel. It works both ways. So when you consciously change your body language, your subconscious mind matches that by changing your emotional state too. So you can sort of think of that as being a bit of an emotional hack for whenever you feel anxious or a little bit low. And then now on to tip number 4. And that's that once you start presenting, remember that people don't know what they don't know. So what I mean by that is a lot of people, when they're in a presentation and they miss out on something, or they forgot to say something, as soon as they realize they forgot, they start to get really nervous and they start to apologize. They'll say something like, sorry, I forgot to say XYZ bit of information. But the problem with that is that it's actually making the situation worse because the people in the audience, they didn't know that information was meant to be there. They would never have even realized it, and they would never have picked up on the fact that you missed out on it. So by apologizing, all that does is that it brings it to their attention that you messed up. So instead of apologizing, if you're in a presentation and you forgot to say something, when you realize what happened, just say, you know what, let me take a step back and go on with whatever it was that you forgot. But now instead of seeming like you messed up your presentation, by taking a step back, you're now making it seem like you've just thought about something that was really valuable, but you just really wanted to share with the audience. And that makes you seem a lot more charismatic when, truth be told, all that happened was you actually forgot what you were going to say in the first place. But now it seems like you're just being spontaneous. And tip number 5, realize that you don't matter. Your message does. And what I mean by that is a lot of people put so much pressure on themselves when they're presenting to present to absolute perfection. And they end up putting this pressure on themselves that actually takes away from their ability to present because they're nervous. So the thing I want you to realize is that no matter how good of a presenter you could be, if your message sucks, so will your presentation because you've lost your audience. But if you're talking about something that your audience can relate to, they can engage with, and the way that you're presenting flows really well, then it doesn't matter how good or how bad your presentation skills are, because that message you're sharing, it's still going to connect with your audience. So the big thing here is that one big thing that I want you to take away from this video is that instead of placing all this pressure on yourself to present perfectly, I want you to shift your focus towards planning out your presentation to have the right message, have it shared the right way, and use stories and examples that your audience can understand and that they will actually find entertaining. And if you do that, if you get the message and the audience aligned perfectly, even the worst of presenters will still be able to do a pretty damn good job. And beyond that, remember that over 70% of the people in your audience have a fear of public speaking. Of the people that are left, most of them are probably not the best presenters either. So over 90% of your audience is feeling the exact same way as you do. So no one there is gonna be sitting there judging you because most of them, they're gonna be just as worried about it as you are. And the people in your audience that might be good presenters, at one point or another, they were probably worried about it too. And they just happened to learn how to present well before you did. So the only person who is really putting any pressure on you is you. So stop focusing on yourself and start focusing on how you want to present your message and watch just how much better your audience starts to react to you. So with that, if you like this video, join the team by subscribing and sharing this video out because we're going to be putting out several new videos a week to help you charm your way to the top in life, in your business, and in your career. So thank you for watching and I can't wait to see you in the next one.